Hello everyone. I am Inés Garcia Viñado, as Francis said, and I'm going to start my presentation. So I am a PhD student. I am an early stage researcher #2 in the Monocat Health project. This is a Marie Curie EU-funded project, and alongside with 10 fellow ESRs, our project's objectives are to study microbial colonization of the gut and gut function in monogastrics prior to birth and in the neonatal period, and also to identify innovative technologies and tools to support resilience in pigs and chickens. So I am working in Agroscope in Poitiers in Switzerland, and my project is a cooperation between Agroscope and the University of Bologna. So today I'm going to present you the first results of my project about CapSa. This is a non-invasive tool that serves to collect small intestinal content in pigs, and this is my validation project. So as we know, the modulation of the intestinal microbiota can lead to immediate and long-term effects on the intestinal health of the pigs. And having a full understanding of the dynamic distribution of this gut microbiota in pigs is essential because gut microorganisms play a fundamental role in physiological processes, in immunity, and in the digestion and absorption of nutrients. And studies have shown that the microbes profile in feces is quite different from the one in the small intestine, but the majority of the research is focused on fecal microbiota. So as we can see in this image on the right, microbial composition changes depending on the localization, but it also evolves with the age of the pigs. From birth to slaughter, there's huge changes through the life. And this is why the how and from where we sample the microbiota is very important to study it. So basically, there are different sampling methods to sample the microbiota, but we have basically two very important. The most invasive but accurate methods, like post-mortem sampling. This is like a once in a lifetime, obviously, but we can also carry out feces sampling, that is the less invasive. We can use it several times, but it's less accurate. And then we have all this other scale of sampling methods. I call them like, we have black and white, and there are all these grays. We have, for example, cannulated animals. We have endoscopy and biopsies. But then we come to ask some question about ethical and practical reasons. For example, cannulated animals are soon to be banned in the EU, is expected. And then endoscopy and biopsies, they are very expensive methods. You need a lot of materials and people that are trained to do it. So that's why we are still having to make this call for more precise devices. This is an article from 2020, a review for human medicine, but this same call is being made in swine research. We need to explore other methods to do better research. So new devices have already been tested and its results are being published in the last years. So the first one that I found was in 2019. And the last one were like 10 days ago, they published a capsule that allowed for the first time to study the gut microbiota of human beings and their physiological conditions without causing any major distress to the patients. So this call is already being answered by research in the human medicine side, but not really in the pig side. So my research is about a novel device for sampling gut microbiota. And in this pilot study, we aim to validate this new sampling capsule to perform a non-invasive collection capsule for sampling, and was invented by Catherine Olagnier, a researcher of Agroscope Poitiers, and is also my first supervisor. The capsule prototype has the size of a size 0 hard capsule. Approximately is 21.7 millimeters of length. And so everybody has an image in their heads, is the size of a 800 milligram or 1 gram ibuprofen pill, and it can collect up to 400 microliters. It is 3D printed and biocompatible. It's administered orally and it transits through the stomach, opens and collects intestinal fluid of the small intestine. It closes again. and then it's eliminated through the digestive tract. So it moves through the intestine using the natural peristaltic movements of the gut, and is retrieving the feces. And its open and closing is based on physicochemical properties of the environment. In this pilot study, this device was tested in pigs ranging from 7 kilos up to 60 kilos of body weight. So before getting too deep with the materials and methods and the study design, I want to attire your attention to the main 3 challenges that we encountered in these pilot studies, because pigs are quite different from human beings in some anatomic structures, and that's why we have to modify the administration process. So the 3 challenges were the oral administration, the gastric passage, and the retrieval in feces. For the oral administration, to avoid that the pig chew the capsules, we had to train ourselves to carry out esophageal sondages that allow us to deposit the capsule directly in the stomach. This is because when we gave them orally to the pigs in the mouth, they used to chew it. They have a very big cavity, and the tongue arrives everywhere, and you cannot actually put it back in the back of the throat and it will swallow. That doesn't work. But once in the stomach, there was a second challenge, the gastric passage of the capsule. So the pig's stomach is a very pronounced C shape, and its pylorus is very muscular and narrow, and it also has, as we can see here, another structure. This is a fold that is called the torus pyloricus. So it makes it even more narrow. And this made that the capsule remained at the beginning blocked in the stomach with no way of coming out by its own natural gastric contractions. And this problem was solved by the use of prokinetics, by the use of prucalopride, last generation prokinetic. And then last but not least, there was the capsule retrieval problem. So for this, all the boxes of our experimental piggery where the pilot study were taking place were adapted for the retrieval of the capsules, with changing the slatted part by a concrete floor with filtering holes, as you can see here up. So now I'm going to talk about the study design and administration process. We carry out a standardized protocol that allows us to retrieve the most capsules in the feces. So 2 days before capsule administration, we fed our animals a diet mixed with water, and a straw was removed from the boxes. We believe that thanks to this, the intestine will be more empty and more liquid on the day administration. And it also reduces the time of transit, because if we have a straw in the stomach, the capsule can get trapped in this straw that takes a bit of time to go out. So that's what we started doing 2 days before administration. And then on day 0, we administered the prucalopride at the right dose, 45 minutes before the 2 capsules. And both of these administrations were done by esophageal sondage. Every capsule was individually identified. So when we see them in the feces, we know which pig has been expulsing capsules. And then 4 hours later, we fed the animals with the standard diet, and they continued with this diet through all the experiments. From day 0 to 3, we passed several times in the boxes to retrieve the capsules in feces and analyze the content. We measure pH, volume of the sample, and then we store them at minus 80 degrees to then analyze the microbiota. On day 3, we proceed to euthanize the pigs to retrieve the capsule in those cases they didn't come out. And then we sample the small intestine. Then we divided the small intestine in 3 segments, and then the large intestine, and also feces. These capsules will serve to compare the content of the capsules with the samples to see where exactly did the capsule sampled. And these are the total of animals. So in total, there were 84 animals were included in this pilot study. As you can see, we have different sizes depending on the body weight. And they were from 6 kilos up to 70 kilos. So now I'm going to present you the first results about capsule retrievals. So regarding this capsule retrieval, 44 of the capsules administered were retrieved in the feces within 72 hours after administration. 32 were retrieved in the stomach after euthanasia, and 25% remain as not found. For the capsule retrieved from feces, 49 transited through the digestive tract within 24 hours. And then we see that the percentage of capsules retrieved from the feces was affected by the body weight category, but not by the sex. From pigs below 12 kilos, this is the smallest pigs, size XS, none of the capsules were retrieved from feces, and they were all retrieved in the stomach after euthanasia. This is because the pillars of the stomach of these small piglets is too small and doesn't let the capsule pass. So also, as you can see, this situation changes when the pig weighs more than 20 kilos for sizes S, M, and L, and results in a higher number of capsules retrieving feces. And neither the body weight category nor the sex had an impact on the percentage of capsules not found. So now I'm going to talk about the suitability of the retrieved capsules. We consider that a capsule is suitable for analysis when it's expelled in the 48 hours following administration. It has a pH similar to the small intestine content. This means a pH between 6 and 8. And it has enough volume to actually do this microbiota analysis. So out of the 71 capsules retrieved from feces, 51 had a pH of pH greater than 6. We see that the pH of the retrieved capsules was not affected by the body weight category or sex. And however, the pH of the samples becomes more acidic when the capsule transit times increases. This is because an increase on the transit time is due to a prolonged stay in the stomach, where, as we know, the pH is acid. The volume of the collected sample was affected by the body weight category, which we can't explain exactly why, but is not affected by the sex or the time of retrieval. And so all of these capsules that were retrieved from feces within 48 hours and whose pH was greater than 5.5, as I said, were used for the microbiota analysis. So, as I said, we only have capsules from 3 sizes of pigs. The smaller ones didn't expel any of them. And these are the number of capsules that we were able to retrieve. In total, there were 37 capsules that came from 28 pigs between 12 and 70 kilos. And for the microbiota results, I am going to present you only the post-weaning results, since for the bigger pigs, the sizes M and L, this validation has not been finished yet. So in the case of the post-weaning pigs, for the beta diversity, the plot shows a clustering of the samples based on sample type. This means we have here the large intestine and fecal samples that tended to cluster together, while the samples retrieved from capsules and the 3 segments of the small intestine form another cluster, that partially overlaps between them. So now I'm going to show you more about the microbiota analysis. The Adonis test revealed how the bacterial composition was significantly affected by the sample type. Moreover, we perform a pairwise Adonis test to test the difference in bacterial composition between the capsule content and the content of the 3 intestinal segments, the content of the large intestine and the feces. There was no difference in the bacterial composition of the 3 segments of the small intestine and no difference between the large intestine and feces. But then when we look closer to the microbial composition of the capsule content, we see that it was different from large intestine and feces. But then concerning the small intestine, the capsule content was not different from segment 1 and 2. So it was similar to segment 1 and 2 and differed from segment 3. We know from in vitro studies that had been already made in these capsules that these capsules sample within 30 minutes after reaching pH 7. So the sampling location in vivo depends on a rise of the pH over 7 and the speed at which the capsule moves through the small intestine. The sampling of the capsule segments in segments 1 and 2 seems to be compatible with this 30 minutes delay on the sampling after the pH has risen. So now I'm going to tell you what's next for my project. So we are currently carrying out 3 experiments in our piggery. We are having the final validation of CapSa in pigs from 40 to 60 kilos. The size is NML. We have to finish this. And we also, in the future, will have 2 experiments that are being carried out that to study the dynamic picture of the small intestine microbiome and their physiological and pathological condition in pigs. This means that we are going to give the capsule to the same pigs 5 times in their lives to study the evolution of the microbiota and their normal condition, and also when they are infected with E. coli enterotoxigenic. My take-home message, so this is the first time that a valid non-invasive device has been validated to collect and analyze small intestine microbiota in post-weaning pigs. And we were also able to standardize a protocol to administer and retrieve the capsule that can be used also in other swallowable devices. And further study will hopefully support the validation in heavier pigs. And overall, this opens so many opportunities to study the small intestine microbiota. And by the end of 2024, we hope to achieve the study of gut microbiota in the same pigs under normal and pathological conditions. So that's all. I want to thank the PIGWEB Junior board members for inviting me to give this webinar. And I also want to take this chance to recognize the great work and help that I received from my supervisors, Catherine Olagny and Giuseppe B. from Agroscope, and Paolo Trevisi, the professor from the University of Bologna, and also the team of the experimental piggery from Agroscope, Possier, led by Guy Maikov. Finally, I want to thank you all for assisting to my webinar. I leave you here my direct email and the QR code to the website of my project. And if you have any question, now is the time. Thank you.
Thank you, Inés. That's a very nice presentation. So now I open the floor to the other members, the participants, if you have questions. Yeah, so I have one from Anushka Middlekup. If you can just open your mic and ask your question directly, it would be appreciated. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Inés. It was a really nice presentation. So thank you for this topic and your research. I was wondering how you looked into how to get the pigs to swallow the technology, basically. Now you have to use a relatively invasive method because you need to put it directly into the stomach. Do you think in the future you may also be possible to reduce the invasive part regarding getting the pigs to swallow it, or do you think it will be hard?
I think, of course, we can look into it, making it less invasive. Actually, from the beginning, I started in this project in October 2021. The administration process, we really trained a lot. So right now, for example, an intubation, it takes us around less than 15 seconds, the in and out of the sonde. And we also, the material that we use, it's been very improved. We have a special sling that I didn't mention where we put the pigs, we wait until they are calm, and then we put this mouth gag, and put the mouth gag in and out is less than 15 seconds, and then they are out of the sling. So we did our best to decrease the stress, because also this stress has, as we observed, had an impact on the capsules getting out. So I think, yeah, like if we think of new methods, we'll arrive to a new method so it's less invasive. but they already tried a lot of ways before getting to these sondages, and none of them work. But I'm sure there's something that we haven't thought about. But at the moment, this is where we at. But yeah, I'm actually open for new ways. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you for your question.
Okay, Lucia, yeah, you can also open your mic, and yeah,
Yes,
if possible,
yes.
you're great.
Do you hear me? Yes. I was
Yes.
just wondering, just as a follow-up of the previous questions, if there would be another option, just well, not going through the mouth, but going through the anus, actually. If there is also a possibility to just put it, and if this would be less invasive, no idea, but just...
So yeah, I mean, through the anus it will be less invasive, but also you have to take into account the length of the intestines.
Yeah, you stay in the last part.
So yeah, exactly. Like the smallest pigs, they have around 12, 14 meters of small intestine. That's without counting with the colon, the rectum, and all this. So you really have to advance a lot if you want to study the first part of the small intestine. And it's I don't think it's a very practical way. I'm even doubting about the possibility of this being done, actually.
Yeah,
but
of course, only if you are interested more in the last part.
Yeah,
Food could be an option.
Yes.
But then it's probably the microbiome, then it's probably very similar to the one from the feces, I guess.
Yes, like the one here in the study, we compared the large intestine and feces, and they are very similar. So at the end, you'll have something similar to feces. And for that, you just take feces.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay. Hi, thank you, Inés. That was a really nice presentation. I was wondering if you could comment on or tell us a bit more about the design of the capsule, like how the process was, if you had any issues or obstacles, or how did that process go? If you could comment.
In the fabrication of the capsule?
Yeah,
you mean?
exactly. Yeah.
So I actually cannot comment because this capsule belongs to Catherine Olagnier from Agroscope. So I am only the person that is in charge of validation and the study of microbiota. And I cannot disclose anything about the mechanism of how it works. But anyway, if you can contact, if you have any questions about this capsule, you can always contact Catherine Olagnier. She's on LinkedIn. She can tell you, but I cannot actually. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, one from Yap. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll just put my microphone. Thank you for the presentation. The retention in the stomach by the piglets, is that due to the size of the piglet, or is any density issue involved? I mean, what is the density of these capsules before they are ingested? And follow-up question, can they be made smaller in the future? I mean, all things can be made smaller apparently. Is this something that is feasible?
So about the density of the capsule, we actually didn't study this, but we observed the bigger the pig were. And actually, right now we are doing experiments. The bigger the pig is, the more they expelled. And then also we did a lot of, in the autopsies, we studied the sizes of the stomachs. And in small pigs, it really attracted our attention that this pylorus was very muscular, and overall, you cannot even pass like a normal finger through these pylorus because there's this fold called the torus pyloricus. So I think it's actually a size thing, because when they are bigger, this pylorus comes bigger and it's more relaxed. It's also because in the small piglets, it's designed to only pass liquid feed, so or liquid particles. So it makes it better for their digestion. And about the size, of course, everything can make it smaller, but not in. It's not part of my project. No. I think maybe this is a question that the Agroscope will do in the future, probably if they are really interested in investing time, because it's already been a long time in the size that we have now, so it will be all over everything but smaller. But yeah, what I mean, you only need 150 microliters for microbial. If it's more, it's better, but for microbial analysis and DNA extraction, and this one collects up to 400 microliters. So why not downsize it to the half, maybe? I don't know.
Just a practical question for that as well, Ines, before I get to you, Ira. So you saw that the pylorus of the piglets, the small piglets, were, as you termed it, muscular, right?
Mhm.
And it's because the capsules didn't pass the stomach of these piglets. Am I correct?
Yeah,
Is it
so the pylorus is
because of
always
that?
yeah, the
Okay.
pylorus is always muscular. Always. We have also that. But in the pigs, the stomach, the pylorus and the entrance of the esophagus are very near, and the
Mhm.
pylorus part is so thick that it's very narrow. So
Okay.
the capsule could never, it's physically it's impossible. Even if you
Okay.
give this prokinetics that augments the contractions of the stomach, they
Okay.
cannot
Okay.
get out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So as the pig grows, the stomach grows. So this opening also enlarges a little bit.
Yeah, it
Okay.
enlarges a bit. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay. So Ira, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you for your presentation, Inés. Just a quick question on how basically it's sampling the intestinal microbiota, right? So in your presentation, you said it opens based on the physicochemical properties. Do you have like did you manage to see if it was like standardized, like, okay, it was opening like 1 meter after the stomach, or did it have anything like standardization maybe?
The location exactly?
Yeah, the
do you mean?
location of when it opens and captures the samples.
So now we have segment that is similar to segment 1 and 2, and then also we had the pilots, the in vitro studies that said that it opens 30 minutes after raising from an acidic pH like the stomach to pH 7. So the exact localization, if it's at meter 1 or 2, we actually don't have it. I think this is something that will depend a lot on the transit time of each pig. For example, if the pig is very stressed in that moment, it's less. If it's normal, it will go faster, but we don't have exactly which meter. We just have an overview of the segments.
Yeah, so basically the sample is also dependent on many factors. The sample that will be taken.
No, because the capsules are always the same. So the opening system is always the same, but it because it doesn't rely on any power source. Like it's not going to go faster depending on the capsule. It depends in the transit of the pig.
Okay.
So it depends on the pig at the end.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, if not, I hope you won't mind if I ask you one or two more questions, Ines. So, are there any instances where the capsule didn't close again because it opens up and closes up based on physiochemical properties of the environment? Are there any instances where it didn't close again, or?
No, because it's built to start opening and then closes. It's impossible not to close. The mechanism is very safe in this.
Okay, so nice.
This thing.
So the design is very good, basically, of the capsule.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Okay, and another thing is, since it's 3D printed, like you mentioned earlier, are there any plans of Agroscope, or maybe it's not the question for you, to maybe publish the design of the capsule for the public in the future?
I don't know. Actually, this is something that Catherine Olañé has to see with Agroscope if they want to disclose it or not. But I have no idea.
Okay. So thank you, Ines. And
Thank you.
if there are no other questions, then we would be announcing the next webinar soon, but just keep in touch with the PIGWEB LinkedIn page. But anyway, thanks everyone, and hope to see you again in the next one.